mysterious death curse washes over the land, driven by a powerful artifact known as the Soulmonger. 4 would-be heroes have been sent to the jungles of Chult to destroy the cause of this terrible affliction. Vale, the half-elven paladin who's just now learning of his divinely granted powers. Ubo, the total monk from a distant land who's as quick with his wit as he is with his staff. Brilinya, Aasimar warlock sent on this quest by Hotel, discovering herself in this strange new land. And Gunslinger Cole, tiefling artificer and archaeologist who may just dig up more than she bargained for. This motley band of adventurers must work together to brave the poisonous plants, venomous monsters, thundering dinosaurs, and rotting undead of the jungle. Join the omnipotent dungeon master Jake from Mini-Terrain Domain to see if our heroes can find the Soulmonger, uncover the deeper mysteries of Chult, and free the world from the death curse. Welcome to the jungle. Welcome to Chult of Personality.
Sundays, not Mondays. Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini-Terrain Domain, and this is The Lost City of Omu, Tomb of Annihilation, Chult of Personality, episode 36, in our long-running campaign using the D&D 5th Edition's Tomb of Annihilation campaign setting. And this is our return to the game and the setting after our holiday hiatus. So it's been about a month since we last played. So I'm glad to be getting back into the jungles of Chult, getting together with this fine group of players. We are moving into a new phase of the game, or kind of like a new chapter or whatever. I kind of described it to the players as the beginning of the end, though that could still be a long time in coming depending on their actions. Or I could kill them all tonight. So we'll see what happens with that. We are going to have a recap in just a moment, and I'm going to have each player gain a point of inspiration and recap from their perspective. Unfortunately, it looks like Eric's going to miss out on that. But Connor will be along shortly. I guess the pesky real-life jobs get in the way. Until then, he's cast Blur on himself. At any rate, I do want to talk about real quick. If you look up in this corner up here, or you can see, let me do this, just like this one right here, these little devil heads that are representing, yep, up above Mike there, are representing our domain dice. And down below is a crawl that explains all of the new domain dice rules, and I'm going to explain it for the players here. It's still 500 bits or a $5 donation to purchase a domain die for the players. One domain die will allow them to reroll any d20 and take the new roll. 2 domain dies to force me to reroll a d20 and take the new roll. 3 domain dies is divine healing. They can use hit dice at any time outside of a long rest or outside of combat. I don't know why I said combat. Only fighters can do that. 4 domain dice will allow you to take a failed death saving throw and convert it into a successful. However, if you roll a critical fail, which did happen in this game with Brilinya a few sessions ago, it will cost you 8 domain dice to convert that. And as you can see right now, they've only got 7 right now. So if that situation comes up, they're screwed. And 5 domain dice at the request of the patron saint of domain dice, Chameleon Fam, Joey P. It is the patron's blessing, or a super crit. The super crit is an automatic, you can convert a hit into a double critical, meaning they will do automatic max double damage. So max damage times 2. So we've added some fun new ways that you can participate in the stream by purchasing domain dice for the players. Now, I'm going to give the quick overview of what's been going on, and then we're going to go to each of these players to recap for a point of inspiration from their point of view. Long story short, there's a death curse throughout the land where anybody who has ever been resurrected is slowly starting to die, and anybody that dies, they're dead. No resurrection magic works. It has been learned that the Soulmonger, a mysterious entity deep in the jungles of Chult, is to blame for this. The original party was hired to go into the jungles of Chult and see if they could figure out what was going on. That was quite some time ago. Through many trials and tribulations, a player death, or rather a character death, a character departing, new characters coming in to join the party, we have our characters that are all now, from a mechanical point of view, they're all level 8. They have been growing in power throughout the jungles of Chult as they search and grow ever closer to finding out what is the cause of this death curse and where this soulmonger may be. And in the last couple sessions, unique things have happened that I'm going to let each of these players describe from their character's point of view. And we're going to go first to Mike playing Vale Istafall.
All right. Well, after the rest of us have settled in and were tasked to go to the ruined city whose name escapes me for just a moment, we went to go hunt around to find the Black Orchid so that we could participate, or at least, go into the Dance of the Seven Winds and get ourselves quickly to the city, lost city of Omu. The city in question is Nangalore. Thanks, Jake. Vale, myself, I was nervous. I usually feel that whenever someone says, go to this place to get this thing so we can do this thing, it's generally, and maybe this is just the inner cynic talking, is usually a bad thing because it involves killing something or something bigger trying to kill you, and in such trying to defend yourself. And sure enough, we were not disappointed, or at least I was not disappointed. Having hunted around, we figured out that there was in the history of this place, there was a queen of Chult by the name of Zalcor who ruled this most beautiful place and was taken here. We hunted around and found her, not only her face carved into many reliefs, but we figured out that there was a whole lot of weird stuff going on. Sure enough, we ended up fighting some really nasty bird-like creatures, which are very much unlike the Aarakocra. So we're not going to make that. We're not going to make that mix up there. We had a battle that ensued. Eric unfortunately made a little bit of a mistake on something, ended up falling, and before he could hit the ground like a sack of potatoes, Brilinya came up with the awesome idea of kind of transporting him to another dimension. Luckily for him, that saved his life. And after that, we ended up meeting Zalcor, this ancient queen who had turned into a horrible Medusa creature. Fighting Medusa creature, we almost lost Brilinya. Thankfully, we did not. And Dunala did this really, really super cool ass thing with magic. And we ended up defeating her, found the Black Orchid, took the Black Orchid back. We did the Dance of the Seven Winds, but before we met up with our patron who had come there and we had spoken to her regarding regarding all of the whole things that have been happening. She had proceeded to bestow us with gifts. Can't remember what the other two got, but I got some cool ass armor. And I have also been actually the very beginning of when we got to Nangalore, the great god Chult had a bit of a convo with me. We talked, we really shot the shit for a bit, and then he said, "Hey, you are the voice of Ubtao, and anyone else is a lying piece. So, let me bestow a gift upon you." And he did. And then, yeah. So after that, we, doing the dance, we grew wings, and we're going to be on our way to the lost city of Omu and to our most certain deaths.
All right. I'm not sure what Mike's left for the rest of you, but let's jump over to Marquise playing Dunala.
So Dunala's experience has been a little bit different, maybe even a lot different from both Vale, Brilinya's, and also Eric's, to keep him in there. When everyone was heading to Nangalore, Dunala was whisked away by Ubtao. This entire game, Dunala has been seeking Ubtao, or more, I guess, evidence that Ubtao is there, and hopes for a miracle that he can go from being a Wanti to being a human again, so he could be reunited with his daughter. When he went to Nangalore for the third or fourth time, Ubtao whisked away Dunala from everyone else. In which case, Ubtao manifested himself before Dunala as his daughter, giving him a choice between either staying as he is or becoming what he once was. Dunala made the choice with no hesitation, wanting to become what he once was. Well, yes, I am hitting my desk. Wanting to once again be human again, so he could go back and see his daughter. When he was returned to the world, Ubtao had given him a blessing as well, in the form of emotional bonds, particularly with his three compatriots here, as well as with the dead twin sister of Brilinya, Cole. With these emotional bonds, he ended up meeting back up with the party, and when they fought the Medusa, Dunala attempted to do his best to manipulate her, essentially, knowing her for a past queen of Omu, and indeed for all of Chult as a whole. Dunala wanted to get the Black Orchid without violence, without having to kill this woman, which quickly went to shit when he realized he would have to sell himself out to her for who knows how long. So using his magic, he did get the Black Orchid, which triggered an entire fight in which Brilinya was, as Vale mentioned, downed. When she was downed, Dunala's bond with her, which makes him see her as something similar to his daughter, triggered, leading to him violently killing the Medusa with his magic, and everyone ending up leaving. Since then, on the way back, Dunala has noticed that he is losing scales, that he can no longer go into his full Wanti form like he used to, and that there are more emotions waking in him by the day. And that is where he is at in this journey.
Excellent. And we'll slide on down to Megan playing Brilinya. As that is the exact opportune moment for Megan to have a coughing fit.
Yep. Sorry. So, Brilinya, this has been this whole trip has been a very trying time. I think the biggest thing for her that stood out was when she was praying in the temple, and the prince, and I'm horrible person at names, sorry. The little prince, what was his name?
The brother of Princess Moxinare?
Yes.
Prince Na.
Prince Na, okay. She had this very interesting a conversation with Prince Na, who is an already very interesting little boy running around looking like an Aarakocra. And he was telling her about Brother Mateus, the single person who she is terrified of and who she does not want to go back to. And he gave her some words of encouragement of that he had no power over her. And I think that has stuck with her the most, as well as being able to see Sindra Sylvain for possibly the last time, but seeing her nonetheless was very, very heartwarming and very appreciative for Brilinya. And Sindra was very, very understanding of them, though I think that Brilinya didn't really see it that way. I think she sees this as almost a failure that they hadn't done this as quickly as they should have or could have, maybe. But she, after seeing Sindra, she has this renewed vigor to go and seek out the soulmonger and to destroy it and to kind of get everything back to normal. So yeah.
Excellent. And finally, the most recent addition to this adventuring party, with a unique tie to Ashara and Kirsabal. Connor playing Eric.
Hi, yeah. So Eric's bit in this adventure is a huge juxtaposition from the other characters. He's not seen the toils that the other players have, and he's had this calling away from the airy, the clifftop monastery of the Aarakocra, surrounded by birds that do not even use their wings. And he just wishes to fly and explore and just see and do. And he's always been tied down, and this is a chance for him to go out and actually make a difference. And he's looking forward to encompassing this role as a fellow hero. Even though he may not be one in the end, he certainly sees himself as potentially one. And he wants to fill that mantle, fill those shoes, even though I don't think Aarakocra wear shoes. And so he's looking to the other characters as role models, as examples, as guidance, as friends and peers.
Excellent. And so it was that the Ashara and the other Aarakocra performed the Dance of the Seven Winds. And as the dance was completed and the ritual completed, Ashara's own wings shriveled away to nothing. And Brilinya, Dunala, and Vale all found themselves now with wings of their own, allowing them the power of flight. They were bid to make haste as Princess Moixanare, the sole remaining heir to the once great kingdom of Omu, told them how they could find the lost city, but that it would require them to fly straight through for 3 days, pushing the very boundaries of the ritual of the Dance of the Seven Winds. And so these characters, these adventurers, these individuals take flight, flying high over the jungles of Chult, southwest, heading towards the direction of the lost city of Omu. As they are traveling, they remember the words that Princess Moxanare told them as they were preparing, just a little bit that they knew that she could impart upon them of what was told to her about what Omu once was. Omu was once a jewel in Chult's crown. Built over rich mineral veins, the city garnered wealth in abundance. Omuan jewelry was coveted far and wide, and the city's merchants grew fat on commerce. To enter Omu, it was said, was to enter the gates of paradise itself. Such wealth brought greed. Omu's hunger for slaves made her rulers demand ever greater tribute from their neighbors. When their vassals couldn't pay in flesh, they paid in blood. Omu's feared legions marched across Chult. The Omuan's greed and hubris angered the god Ubtao, causing him to turn his back on Omu 200 years ago, long before he abandoned the rest of Chult. Omu's clerics lost their spells, and the city fell to sickness and disease. Slave uprisings racked Omu, and its nobles fled in droves. Maps showing Omu's location were destroyed, and its coins were melted down and reminted. Fallen from grace, Omu became known as the Forbidden City. But Princess Moxanare told you that these were all the lies of those who coveted that great wealth of Omu. They wanted to paint Omu as this horrible city of legendary sin and vanity. But she has assured you that when you free the city of Omu, she will restore it to its once proud, great glory. For 3 of you, well, perhaps for 2 of you, the beating of your wings is a new and unique experience. Vale and Dunala. Brilinya has experienced it in small doses through her innate abilities as an Asimir. You have seen her take flight for a minute at a time. And of course, Eric, as a scout from Kir Sabal, you have gone on long flights yourself. On this first day, as you're flying across the vast, high above the vast jungles, briefly, what is going through your head, Eric, the most experienced flyer of this group?
Eric has to verbally kind of help them with their flight. I don't think it's a smooth experience as they're learning these magical wings. Oh, you are banking too far to the left. No, recover. No, you must relax. Just go with the flow. Just pretend like you're swimming. You do that very often, no? And just kind of like helping them, guide them with the whole experience.
Brilinya, the next one with some level of powers of flight. What's going through your mind, Brilinya?
I think that for the longest time, Brilinya's eyes are closed in this serene joy you can see as she just kind of smiles, just gliding through the air. She even stretches her hands out for an instant. And as she goes, you can see that there are, as she isn't as skilled, there are times when a wind picks up or when the winds change that she kind of stutters a little bit, but she regains her balance and composure after a bit of time. But she is just purely enjoying this very much.
Some of you may remember The Greatest American Hero, and that's what I picture. As Brilinya is flying through the air, just sort of, just every once in a while, Just kind of, whoa, I'm flying, and I don't know how.
You can tell the old people because I'm the only other one. It's like,
No,
yeah,
you're the only one that got that reference.
Yeah. Believe it or not.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nostalgia.
Dunala, how are you handling the flight over Omu
Despite
or
being
Chult?
Yeah, I was gonna say, despite being arguably more snake than human, Dunala has taken to his wings very quickly. He doesn't try and do anything fancy like Eric might, and he doesn't seem to be having the fun that Brilinya is. But he is gliding through the air, keeping a higher altitude than probably what is suggested by Eric. Like if he looks up, he would see Dunala just flying higher and higher, sometimes going lower and then higher again. He's not making any sounds or any reactions. Internally, he is giving prayers to Ubtao for the blessing of these wings that he now has. So he's been pretty much silent for most of this trip so far, gliding above.
And finally, Vale. How is Vale handling the flight?
I think at first, like when we first left, I probably would have been very like, do I flap now? Do I glide? Which one do I do? And I think at first I'd be listening very much to Eric as he's leading, and then eventually I'd probably get the hang of it, and then realize, okay, so if I angle my wings at this part of the wind, I'll go up. But if I don't have to flap, maybe I can just glide. And so, I just tried like experimenting a few different things here and there to try and get, the get the kind of like idea of it, and then get it kind of sorted out. And then after a while, listening to Eric's like, go here, do that, enchanté, tabernacle, and then I'd probably just end up like, kind of gliding and just kind of phasing him out as if it was just white noise.
And so what I would like for Eric to make a persuasion check to see how well you are able to instruct the others.
I got 24 on my persuasion.
Excellent. So I need all of you to make a Constitution saving throw at advantage. You find that part of your struggles early on that first day are those of you that have never flown, you're trying too hard as you realize that the very nature of this spell seems to imbue you with an almost instinctual level of how to fly properly. But it doesn't lessen the exertion that goes into having to fly so hard for so long to make your destination. So how did you all do on your con save?
I got an 18.
19.
I got a 15.
I left my dice in the kitchen.
You better go get him or you're going to auto fail.
I was going to say, or do you want me to roll? Do you want me to roll for him while he gets it? Because I'll do it. Look at that, double ones. How unfortunate.
I like how he just shows up to a
I think-
game and like have dice.
Well, it's
available.
funny. Well, it's actually kind of funny because Marquise only recently started using dice, I thought.
Yeah, usually it's rollers.
Ooh.
And you know what? To all those watching at home, there are plenty of die rollers out there that go well with like Google Hangouts or even I think Twitch stream as well. I think.
Oh yeah, even just general dice rollers online.
Yeah.
I got a 14.
You got a 14?
Yeah.
You all pass on the first day. Eric's instructions are good enough that you find the right thermals. You manage to get into areas where you can glide and get a bit of a tailwind. And through that first day, you do not become exhausted. The second day, we're actually going to... lost my paper. On the second day, as you are traveling... I used to have a cheat sheet here that had all the the weather and survival checks on it. It has vanished. I know that's in the book. Anyway, as you are traveling along on the second day, I would like for I'm gonna say let's have Marquise, Megan, and Mike all roll d20s.
Got you. 5.
Is that with any? Is there any modifier?
Just straight d20.
Okay, that's a 16.
Got a 10.
All right. You are fortunate that the weather holds out. It's hot, but there's no strong winds, and no rain. So along the second day, you find yourself just getting tired because you're flying for your second entire day. I would like Constitution saving throws again from everybody. And these are going to be straight Constitution saving throws for everyone.
15,000.
I'd like to buy a domain dice, please.
Yeah, Eric is burning a domain die.
It's my first one I've used in this whole stream, or this whole campaign. He can
You stole my domain
stop.
dice.
I'm
No,
so
you can't.
There we go. Natural 20 for a total of 19. We're good. Whew.
Well, that -1 con. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, how'd you do there, Brilinya?
I got a 4.
And I know you said he stole your domain die, but more than one player can use a domain die.
I know, but I feel like we're gonna need it.
Do it. We can always bag
Oh,
our viewers.
You totally won't need domain dies in multiples greater than one.
What do you have any inspiration?
No, I don't.
Actually, you
I
do
used it
because
all when I was dying.
no,
Fine.
everybody just earned a point of inspiration for your recaps.
I'm gonna
And I was
use
gonna
it-
say I forgot about inspiration, so you can pop a domain dice back in the hood.
Oh, so
Okay, I
you're,
got a
you're
19.
going to use your inspiration for that
Yeah,
reroll?
I forgot to look at my character sheet.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
How about Vale and Dunala?
I got an 8.
I got a 15.
Vale, you are struggling to keep up with the others. You do so, but it costs you extra exertion, and you gain 1 level of exhaustion. You have disadvantage on all ability checks, which means really it doesn't put you at too much of an advantage on this next check for the third day, because everybody will be making this third check at disadvantage because it's your third straight day of flying. First, before you do that, actually, roll me. This time we'll have Marquise, Megan, and Connor roll the d20s. Straight d20.
19.
4.
9.
It is getting very, very warm. The temperature has risen higher than normal. There is no rain or anything, nor are the winds picking up too much. Surprisingly, the hot air is working to your advantage because it's creating thermal updrafts that is allowing you to coast longer. That weather roll will allow you to make this last Constitution check as a straight, except for Mike. Vale, you are disadvantaged because of your exhaustion. But everybody else will make a straight con check for the third day.
Natural 20 for 23.
I got a total of 0.
I'm actually going to use a point of inspiration to remove my disadvantage.
Okay.
So it'll be a straight roll.
Excellent.
Thank goodness for that. Which is good because that's a 12.
I also got a 12.
Nice.
So Dunala seems to be the one who's almost taken on a trance-like state on this throughout these days of flight, rhythmically, mechanically working his wings, gliding and coasting. Vale, you've just been struggling to find that rhythm since you lost it, and you pick up a second point of exhaustion. Brilinya and Eric, you pick up a point of exhaustion each. Vale, with that second point of exhaustion, your speed is now reduced. Fortunately, you are on your descent, as I am going to switch over the camera a moment and show you exactly what you see on your approach. As you come in from the southern edge of the lost city of Omu, this is what you see. An entire region that is boxed in through cliffs that are 100 to 150 feet in height. You see these. You see the jungle opening up into this region. You see the dead city completely enclosed by these sheer cliffs. Ruined buildings and stone boulevards that rise like ghosts from the floor of the misty basin. Colorful birds glide overhead. A waterfall pours into this basin, creating a swollen river that floods much of the city before draining into a deep rift filled with molten lava. A ruined palace lies a few hundred feet from the edge of the steaming abyss. The thick jungle hugs the cliff tops, with ferns, orchids, and moss spilling over the edges. Every 100 feet or so, all around the precipice of this region, are vine-draped gargoyles perching on the cliff top, staring down at the ruined city. Each one has the face of a devil, its mouth agape in a silent scream. You are approaching from the closest to the southwestern edge, kind of down in this lower left corner on the map, which you can kind of get the sense that this would have been a normal entry point for people traveling once upon a time to the lost city of Omu. And I check the message group. And I've placed the handout in there for you guys to reference as I pull away from this screen back to our overlay. You see these areas rising as you start to descend. You're descending almost out of instinct, and you're actually feeling, as you begin your descent, you're just beginning to get the senses that at some point this day and very soon, the ritual is going to expend its power. I would like all of you to make a perception check.
$27.
That's a massive perception. Dunala got a 6.
6.
Got a 19.
And I'm assuming since it's all with disadvantage, I got a 13.
Yes, all ability checks you make will be at
Oh,
disadvantage.
sorry, disadvantage makes it a 19 instead of 27. My bad.
Okay. Double check here.
Exhaustion sucks.
The only one that doesn't perceive what I'm about to describe is Dunala. As you begin your descent, and you're still several hundred feet above, and the city still lies a little ways to your north, as you're moving toward it, Eric, who, as you had previously described, you kind of are in a higher vantage point from everybody else. You are the first to notice as a shadow passes over the backs of your companions. And then you watch as that sometimes this would be an experience you would see a lot from your high vantage point. And I imagine Vale, though anybody may have experienced this, Vale has, in his past, spent much time just lazing about in pastures and things like that. You know that when a singular cloud passes before the sun and its shadow moves rapidly across the landscape, it has that look, Eric, but it does not move like a cloud. It has a shape and a size that you might recognize as that of a predatory creature. And looking up, you are absolutely correct. As you see, moving in a pattern much like a hawk circling above a field, looking for movement to spot its prey, you see the massive form of a winged creature flying above you. What? And then right about this point, Vale and Brilinya, you also kind of sense, wait, the thing that's moving, the shadow that's moving is kind of pacing us. And if you were to take a look over your shoulder, you would see about 100 feet above you, a massive bird creature. What do you do?
Eric is immediately, he knows that when a cloud passes over you, it's either one of two things: a bigger something in the air or a cloud. And so he's going to size it up, and he's going to see, because maybe there's a chance that it's just some passing creature, whether it's like intent on us as a small group, or if it's just passing by, kind of learning at its habits and its where it's facing and any other kind of predatory techniques it might be doing.
First, give me a history check at advantage, or a nature.
All right.
Or nature, your choice.
Nice. Both advantage?
Either one at advantage.
Nice. This will cancel out the exhaustion.
Yes, it'll be a straight roll because of your disadvantage.
Yep. Makes it a 23 on nature.
You recognize this creature. You have only ever seen one at a great distance, but you have heard of them. It is known as a rock.
Okay.
They are massive. They are titans of the sky, and they can be very deadly. Now, I would like you to make an insight check. And because of that successful check, I will allow you to make that one also as a straight roll.
Nice. Oh, that's an at 20 for 22. Thank goodness.
Using your innate avian abilities and what you know of predatory birds, you can kind of just studying this for a moment, you see it making the subtle flicks with its wingtip feathers, slightly adjusting its movement, and you see the way its head moves around as it scans. And as you're looking at it, you see with every move it makes, looking around the landscape, it always makes one move looking towards the four of you. It very much has the look of something that is stalking you.
And Eric would yell down to those below, "Split up! Split up! Diverge! Go on your own ways. We are being predated."
Dunala,
As he veers to one side.
Eric suddenly calling out. Nobody has spoken of this up until this moment. What is your reaction?
Dunala looks over his shoulder and he sees this massive flying thing up there. Not sure if it's a bird or some kind of dinosaur or a thunder lizard or something else. He will fold his wings in and go into a dive straight to the city below him to try and get there faster. That's mechanically going to be the dash action for me.
All right. Well, he gets advantage on that. As you go into a dive, Dunala, and Eric screams to split up and kind of veers off. Vale and Brilinya, first, what are you doing at that exact same moment?
Brilinya would not hesitate. I don't think she even looks necessarily. She is just going to veer in the opposite direction that Eric went.
Excellent. And Vale.
I would probably, being the last one to react, seeing Dunala kind of tuck his wings in and kind of go down, I'll look quickly to Brilinya, see what she's doing, and I'll kind of begin to kind of go down, move down to the city fairly quickly.
All right. And anybody glancing back at it would notice at about the same moment you're all splitting and Dunala goes into a dive and Vale starts to dive, the rock also folds its wings back, interpreting this as you attempting to make an escape and is diving towards you. We are going to roll for initiative. It's a dogfight.
15 for Dunala.
All right, Dunala has 15.
I have a 19.
I got 22.
Real?
I got a 6.
Marquise, roll me a d6.
3.
Okay. All right. 6 for Brilinya. Okay. So it's going to be Eric, you are up first, followed by Vale, followed by the Rock, the giant bird, not the actor. Followed by this.
I'll see you guys next week.
Hey, it was no Merry Chultmas in the Chultmas carols.
True.
And with a 6, it's ironic, Megan is 6. Brilinya is 6. All right, so first up is Eric. You have a gargantuan predatory bird hot on your tail. What are you doing?
So, sorry, the rock is pursuing Dunala or moi?
Make an insight check.
Because we're in different directions here.
Yep, and that's going to be disadvantage.
Yep. That's going to be an 8 total.
You're not really sure who it's heading for.
Well, he will then, again, continue flying perpendicular to Dunala's descent. And then he will whisper to the bow that he has lashed around his back. Swift death to you who have wronged me. And he's going to pull the back and just fire off one of these oath arrows.
All right, you're taking a shot at the rock.
So the first point of exhaustion does not affect attack rolls, right? Just
correct.
Ability
it's
checks?
Only ability checks, so your attack rolls will be normal.
All right, so this gives me auto advantage because oath bow is amazing. That's going to be a 27 to hit.
That will hit.
Which, All right. Oh my goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 d6 and another d6 for the bow.
All of those are for
5,
the oath bow?
15. No, sneak attack because of the advantage.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about sneak attack.
28, 33 points of damage from this arrow.
You sort of roll over as you're making this evasive maneuver, tucking your wings, drawing your bow, and firing this arrow. It whistles through the air. It's hard to miss this giant bird even as it dives in. It gives no acknowledgement other than a loud through the air, but no physical reaction to the arrow striking it. What else would you like to do? Or is that your turn?
So move and then bonus action dash more, and then the attack roll. So that's my 3 actions.
How far do you move with your dash?
So a grand total of 100 feet, essentially horizontally.
Okay, and you're moving perpendicular. What is your speed, Dunala?
I don't know if the wings give me bonus speed or not, but I have 30 feet normally.
Everybody has pretty much the same flight speed as your walking speed, so it's 30.
It's 30.
Let's see. So Vale, you're up next. As you see Eric unleash an arrow at this massive bird.
How far is the bird from me?
If you just tucked and rolled, it was about 100 feet above you, and it had just begun a dive towards you, so it's about 100 feet away at this point.
Okay. I guess I'll probably use my my dash action to move down as fast as I can.
All right.
So I guess that'll be what, 60 feet?
Yep.
No. If I have a second point of no, I have 2 points of exhaustion.
Oh no, your speed is halved.
Halved. So then I'll dash for 30 feet.
Yep. Yeah, you're like, compared to everybody else, you're like the little tiny sparrow in this bird flight that's flapping its wings so hard and just barely moving to get away from this thing. It is now its turn, and seeing as Eric has veered perpendicular to Dunala's descent, Dunala rapidly diving downward, Vale trying, flapping. It now puts you the closest to this thing. Actually, I take that back, because you and Grill are the closest. So I'm going to roll this big heavy metal die. Evens, it's Vale. Odds, it's Brilinya. Vale, the rock, is coming for you. It swoops in. And in this almost bullet-like dive, you hear that screeching in your ear as it attempts to bite you. That is going to be a 29 to hit, which I'm pretty sure beats your armor class.
No. Yes, it does.
You are going to take. Let me. Oh, bye. You take 26 points of piercing damage as this thing bites into you with its giant hook-like beak. As it bites into you, it draws you back. You can feel this rush of air from its wings as it sort of tosses you, and its claws, its talons come up at you, and it's taking a second attack at you with its talons. That is a nat 20.
Well.
I can see you thinking it now costs two.
Yeah, I know.
It now costs 2 dice to
I know,
make me
I
re-roll.
know. That's
Yeah, you're good, dude. You could take the hit. And, you gonna be alright.
yeah. Okay, sure. Yeah, okay, sure.
You're
Bring
gonna
it.
take it.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it.
Okay, so as a reminder, the crit is automatic.
Max damage.
Max dice damage, or max damage plus the dice roll one more time. So that's going to be an automatic 33 plus. What's 33 plus 16? 49 points of slashing damage as its talons rip into you, and I need you to make a.
It doesn't.
Oh no,
really
you don't
matter.
get to do anything. You're grappled.
Well, it doesn't really matter anyway. I'm down.
You are unconscious.
Yeah, that's it. I'm actually technically at -3, but
-3.
-3 hit points.
Okay, I thought you said -30 for a second.
No, then I'd be dead. Then I'd be all kinds of dead. Yeah, I'm just out.
All right. And that ends the rock's turn. It is Dunala.
How far away am I from this rock?
Well, you'd gone 60 feet. It swooped down to catch Vale, who had gone 30. I'd say you're within about 30 or 40 feet.
Perfect. All right. Looking back behind him, he hears not the death rattle of Vale, but he hears the explosion of sound above him. I like to imagine blood is falling on him, his wings, his face, as Vale's been caught in these claws. His eyes go wide and they flick to see where Brilinya is. And seeing that she's nearby to where Vale is, he spreads his wings out, stopping his dive, and then he quickly turns around and reaches for where the rock is. As he closes his hands, I'm casting the spell Polymorph on it. He needs to make a wisdom save, DC 16, and I begin to pull its dreams out from its head.
Okay, just checking its stuff real quick. So that is a wisdom save.
Yep.
All right, let's see. Let me move these 6s out of the way and pick the die. I'm going to use the Tomb of Annihilation die here.
My greatest enemy.
That is a total of 6.
Perfect. He grabs the memories of the rock and he quickly sorts through them himself. And he finds a memory of when it was a chicken and is eating a mouse. He brings that memory to the forefront and he's going to turn the rock into a mouse with polymorph.
And you watch as this massive rock turns into a little tiny mouse, which is now falling at roughly the same rate towards the earth as the unconscious Vale Istafall.
And then using my movement, I will want to move under him and catch him.
I'm going to need you to make a dex. I'm going to make you make a dexterity check.
All right. My dexterity.
And that's already at disadvantage because of your exhaustion.
I don't have exhaustion.
Oh, then it's at disadvantage because of the movement.
All right. Okay, I'm going to use a point of inspiration
Right.
and a domain dice. I'm going to double up on those.
Wait, what?
Wait, was the domain dice roll another dice or was it just advantage?
Domain dice is to re-roll any one d20 and take the roll.
So I'm going to spend a point of inspiration to cancel out the disadvantage and then re-roll it with a domain dice.
Oh, so you rolled shitty.
Yeah, I rolled terrible.
Okay.
All right, perfect.
I got you.
All right, originally I had rolled a 3 plus 3, so 6, but now I have a 17 plus 3, so it's a 30-20.
All right, that is enough to swoop in, and you actually, again, almost instinctively with these wings, you move in sort of at a downward angle, absorbing some of the downward movement, making it less impactful. So it's more like you just grasp him and you're now kind of holding him in the air.
Dope.
The mouse continues to fall. We're going to say that it will take... Okay, I know how long it's going to take for the mouse to fall. And this was just polymorph, right? Just regular polymorph?
Yeah.
Which I believe ends after a minute, right?
It's a minute and it's concentration.
So you have to concentrate on it, and when it also...
If it hits 0, excess damage will transfer over and it'll turn back to its normal form.
All right.
Hey, man, what's up?
All right. Well, that takes us to Brilinya.
How close is Vale, or how close is Brilinya to Vale and Dunala?
At this point, because you had just rolled out, you would be within 30 feet of them as well.
Okay, perfect. She is going to fly over to Vale and just quickly rest her hand on his forehead, her hand starting to glow up her forearm, and she's going to cast Cure Wounds on him, as well as she is speaking these words in a language that you can't quite comprehend. It's sweet, it's melodic almost. And she is also going to cast 4 healing light on him. So it'll just be a moment. Oh. Bye, Marquise. You do know what I'm saying.
Thank you.
It is a prayer that she, from the temple that she had learned from Ilmater, though quiet and sung in song, and though it is usually not. Okay, just give me a hot minute here. I have to healing.
Yeah,
Most count of minutes. Take as many minutes as you can if you keep me alive.
While you're rolling up all these massive healing dice, Eric, give me a perception check.
All right, come on. Okay, that's not bad. Thank goodness for my high modifier. That's a 13.
That's just enough for you to notice the 3 gargoyles that have detached themselves from the cliff wall and are heading towards you. That was the D6 I had you roll earlier, Marquise.
It appears that we have more things to turn into little mouses, no? There are 3 of them over there. And he like points to them, but you know. Yeah.
All right, so how did you do there on the healing, Brilinya?
I heal Vale 51 points.
Vale, describe Vale.
Damn.
Describe waking up in the arms of Dunala, high above the jungle floor, having just seemingly been killed by a giant bird.
I feel like it would have been a complete shock to the system. Like, just one moment, I'm just kind of running through the this seemingly endless jungle, but not feeling fear, just feeling like the rush of being alive, just running through. And then all of a sudden I just get like kind of like pulled back, like just being like having a rope tied to you and just like pulled by 20 people, just suddenly yanked back off my feet and pulled. And as I'm kind of reaching through, kind of trying to grab a hold of any branches, because I don't want to leave this very beautiful area, I suddenly just kind of get pulled back, and I just kind of like inhale this huge breath, and I look right into Dunala's face, and I look at him and,
You haven't brushed your teeth in a few days.
well, I'm also kind of tired. Where's the big bird then?
Yeah, let's see, mouse.
Oh,
Yes.
it's strange how comfortable you get when you hear things like that. And I
Yeah.
kind of stretch out and I kind of begin flapping my wings.
And Dunala will let you go, and he'll say, with the power of Dunala soaps, anything is possible. Remember that, Vale?
Yeah, we're onto the soaps again. Yeah, I remember that.
Vale, roll me a d20.
Modifierless.
Yep, straight d20.
All right, that is a 9. No, excuse me, that's a 6. My bad.
Actually, I'm gonna. Never mind. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Nope. I'll let you know if and when it becomes relevant.
I think it just killed us all. By the way, everyone.
No. All right, Brilinya. Anything else? You moved. You healed.
Yep, that's all I can do.
It takes us back to the top of the order. Eric, it is your turn, and you see 3 gargoyles approaching.
And they are an incredibly long distance away, I imagine.
In my mind, you guys are about 400 or 500 feet above the jungle floor. They were up on the cliffs, which put them about 350. They're a couple rounds away from you yet at max speed.
So I'm just wondering, because my oath bow has a maximum range of 600 feet.
Yep, as a longbow, they would be in range for the disadvantage.
Yeah, I will do that. I'll go for the long range shot on them.
All right, so you're going to take a shot at
The leftmost of the 3 gargoyles as I whisper.
All right, just
that
for ease on my tracking, just refer to them as 1, 2, or 3.
All right, number 1.
All right.
With that, to you who have wronged me, even though you're not a threat yet. That's gonna be a 25.
That is going to hit.
That's gonna be. Oh no, sneak attack. Oh no. Oh no. Ooh, that's big numbers. 25 points of piercing damage. Incoming.
Okay. I'm sorry, 25?
25, yeah.
Yeah, even at this distance, you see as there's a powdery spray of stone as your arrow chips away chunks of stone from this one gargoyle. Actually, I'm going to. Yeah, you hit it center mass, and you actually chip away one of its stone pectorals. Anything else?
I'm just gonna hold my ground, yell to my companions. Actually, I'll move closer to them now because I'm so far away.
Okay.
Kind of just be there as the the eyes, and so I don't have to yell as much.
Excellent. Vale, you are still in Dunala's arms, but you are fully, or not fully, or maybe fully. I don't know.
Actually, at this point, I had already kind of flew off on my own,
Okay.
or at least moved away from him. And do I see these creatures?
I think by this point you would see Eric attacking at them, and you can see the 3. I picture this one of those weird. You always see it in sci-fi movies when the camera kind of is almost like it's handheld in the dogfight, and you see this little mouse, and then it kind of goes, and you see 3 gargoyles. One of them just struck with an arrow as they're streaking up towards you.
Would I be able to get to one of the gargoyles and attack it? Like, would I be far enough, you think, away from it?
Depending on the range of what you're attacking with.
It would have to be my sword. I don't really trust.
They're too far away for you to get to them. I mean, even if you dashed, you're only moving 30 feet.
Yeah.
And they're still a couple 100 feet away from you.
Dang. There's got to be something I can do. No. Dang it, magic. Why? I guess no, there's really jack squat I can do. All right. I guess I'll just start flying towards them and do a dash. Actually, nix that. I'll move 15 feet towards the gargoyles. But I am going to cast a spell. I'm going to lay on hands myself, kind of juice myself up a bit. So I'm going to spend 20 some odd hit points to bring myself back up.
Okay. So with the properties of terminal velocity and acceleration 32 feet per second, what I'm going to do is to determine the amount of damage this thing takes. I'm going to roll 20d6. But I'm going to have you do it. So I would like each of you to roll 5d6.
Oh God, I should have stick with the rollers, man. Holy.
So Vale, roll your 5d6 and tell me what you get.
I need more d6s. Hey, and this is, you know what? Just for a joke, Marquise, this is probably the closest you're ever going to get to Meteor Swarm.
19. Yeah, you're right. To be honest.
Don't count Meteor Swarm out yet.
Oh wait, keep talking.
There's volcanoes all over this island. There's a massive magma rift just to your east.
I can't cast Meteor Swarm from that rift, and the rift might as well not exist.
Okay, so Vale, what'd you get?
I rolled an 18 out of 5d6.
All right, Marquise. Do not 19. So that's
Nice.
was that 37?
Yeah, something like that.
Yep.
So we're at 37. Brilinya.
19.
Wow. So that's 56.
There you go.
And then Connor.
I rolled 26 damage. I was so close to max damage. It was unbelievable.
So
Wait. 26? Jesus.
Yeah.
So that puts us at 82 points of damage times 2.
Ooh.
So that is 164 points of damage to the rock. So let's see.
Along with that dope 33 earlier, please kill it before I have to fly down there and smack it to death.
Probably
Okay.
just gets up and flexes pecs.
Yeah.
So far below you, you see this in the jungle. You don't see the mouse fall and impact. But what you see is the sudden disturbance below you of the trees as several trees are knocked over and a small clearing erupts. Many small birds take flight. Creatures go running as these trees are knocked over, and you see a large dark form scrambling to pull itself upright and struggling to rise from the jungle floor. And I'm going to make a... All right. You, from this distance, cannot tell what shape it's in. But even with the carryover damage, the rock is still active. The gargoyles are going to fly in closer, and at this rate, they are able to close most of the distance, but not get in close enough to melee with any of you. Dunala, you are up. We'll
Dunala, oh, sorry, go ahead.
We'll say that you are at this point, you guys are probably within about 30 feet. They've moved into range. They just can't quite get close enough to attack you guys this round.
Dunala looks and sees Vale and Eric going towards the gargoyles, and he shouts at both of them, along as well as Brilinya, "We should go down before the rock gets back up here." And what he's going to do when he does that is he reaches out with his other hand, his right hand, and he pulls back and he pulls their dreams and throws them back at them, casting Fireball on top of these 3 gargoyles. Ooh. While moving 30 feet closer to the ground.
So that's dex checks for all 3 of them?
Yep, DC 16.
I'm going to roll all 3 d20s at once.
Dice roll with this damn.
DC what?
DC 16.
I didn't even get 16 if you add all 3 d20s together.
Dope. That's what I like to hear.
I got a 7, a 6, and a 2.
That's going to be 33 points of fire damage as I continue diving to the ground.
The first gargoyle, as it just flies, the bulk of the fireball hits it. Classic dogfight scenario. This thing just explodes into stone dust. You see a wing flying off this way. There's a moment as the shattered face in this eternal scream comes flying towards you, stops about 6 feet away from you, and starts to fall backwards. Through the fireball, the other 2 gargoyles, fire cascading off of them. How much did they take total damage? 33?
Correct.
That's like the 3rd or 4th time you guys have rolled a 33.
Tonight?
In damage. Maybe it was the 2nd time. It's what
I know. Eric rolled a 33 earlier. That's
so
right.
One of the gargoyles is down. The other 2 are burning stone gargoyles. And so you launch your fireball and just went into a dive, right?
Yeah, so I moved 30 feet closer to the ground.
All right. You actually... Oh, yeah. Brilinya.
So Brilinya is going to follow Dunala's advice, but first she is going to aim 2 Eldritch Blasts at the remaining 2 gargoyles.
All right.
It's a 13 and a 24.
The 13 misses. The gargoyle does a sort of almost like a barrel roll out of the way. But the other one strikes it solid.
That is going to do 7 points of force damage, as well as kind of push it back 10 feet.
It has this weird effect as it's kind of in movement towards you, and you hit it with this Eldritch Blast. You see the glowing cracks all across its body. And rather than pushing it backwards, it stops it in place. You see all of these glowing cracks all across its body, and then as it seems to hold there in place, you watch as bursts of light from the Eldritch Blast start to show through these cracks, and it just sort of crumbles away, falling into dust back down, raining stone down below. That's 2 gargoyles down.
And then with her movement, she is going to be following Dunala.
Excellent. That takes us back to the top of the order. Eric.
Eric will try and strike the last of the remaining gargoyles.
All right.
All right. This is a 17 to hit.
That will hit. You shooting your oathbow at it?
Yep. That'll be 6, 12, 15, 20 points of piercing.
The arrow strikes the top of the gargoyle's head. It still has flame streaking off of it. And it has the effect of like a stone cutter carefully working stone to split it in half. It strikes the top of its head, and the two halves of the gargoyle just sort of split off and arc away and start tumbling back towards the earth. Far below you, the three of you that are flying down towards the ground, you watch as the massive wings of the rock give a strong push, and it uses its entire turn to dash upwards towards the four of you, astonishingly closing most of the distance as it moves 240 feet with a dash. Vale, you're up. And I picture, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm going to jump back to this just for a moment. But I picture the rock kind of crashed in the middle area here where this little peninsula of trees is just to the west of the rift. That you guys are kind of moving at an angle towards that lower southwestern part of the city. Or is there somewhere else that you're flying towards? Dunala, you actually took the lead on the descent.
Yeah, Dunala's going not towards like the Spark. Well, it's still in the southwestern area, but he wants to land in like one of these alleyways between buildings on the western side.
Perfect. So kind of just south of this little walled city region.
Yeah, it's like right up in that alleyway.
Excellent. Love it. I just wanted to get that clarification. All right, Vale. What are you doing?
How far am I from the rock then?
I'll say with its massive burst of speed and its upward momentum and your downward momentum, you could meet it in midair. And you can see now that as it's streaking up towards you, feathers are falling away from it. Ribbons of flesh are torn. It's bruised. Its beak is cracked. It seems to be flying despite what looks to be a broken wing. Blood is raining from it in rivulets. It is in bad shape.
I'm gonna, like, as it's coming up as fast as it possibly can, I'm gonna kind of just like drop, like basically just kind of tuck my wings in and drop, pulling out my rapier, and then as it flies past, I'm just gonna jam the rapier in and let it fly up and carve itself open as it goes.
All right.
That'll be my attack.
Roll your attack.
I'm going to roll my attack. And I'm going to use a point of inspiration. Well, actually, I don't know. Is it disadvantage? I have 2 levels of exhaustion. Is that disadvantage on attacks?
Nope, you do not have disadvantage on attacks.
Fantastic.
I don't think you get that until you get to third level of exhaustion.
Oh, okay.
And yes, as a reminder, you have 2 attacks.
Yes. Well, that is a hit because I rolled a natural 19.
Yes, that is indeed a hit.
Okay, so that's 27 to hit. And I'm going to use that as a divine smite at first level. So that'll just be a 3d8. 1, 2. Where's the third one? There you are. Nice. So that would be 6 points of piercing and 9 points. Actually, sorry, that should be 13 points of piercing and 9 points of radiant. For a total of the lot 22?
23.
Thank you.
So let's see. Math this real quick. So your first strike, you plunge into this thing. You just sort of, as you described, you kind of roll over, inverted, flying past it, and you jam your rapier in. There's a flash of divine energy as it begins to rip through. but you still only made it about halfway through its body with this first attack.
And then I'm going to, for the second attack, I'm going to kind of like grabbing a hold of its like kind of feathers and skin. I'm going to pull open the wound and I'm just going to stab right into its heart.
All right. Because you're that close engaged with it and you've already ripped it wide and it's so big, I'm going to let you make this attack at advantage.
Okie dokie. All right. Well, that's a 21 to hit.
That will indeed be a hit.
And I think I'll just make this a regular old hit. And that will be 10 more points of piercing.
Vale Istafall, how do you end this?
So as I'm kind of like hanging off this open wound, I kind of like pull it open and I can just see its rib cage slightly exposed, seeing its heart like beating fast and erratically, and kind of without any like satisfaction or happiness, just as a grim, this has to be done. I just make a like one quick stab, like really hard thrust up into its heart, stopping it quickly. And then I kind of pull it off and then kind of spread my wings and just snap and fly back as the creature starts to fall to his death.
And we need to have air combat more often. The visuals of this whole fight have just been so spectacular in my mind. Just the way you described that, and there's literally this like spray of blood, anime style, as the background seems to suddenly go to streak flashes, and you're just like, as you flash back. Vale, you are a mess. Your entire front, it's weird. It's like your whole front is crimson, but your whole back is clean. And the rock tumbles in a death spiral towards the ground, landing not far away from where it rose, this time not moving. And you are all out of combat. You actually, would you all continue your descent or begin to descend down to where Dunala was headed?
Yep.
Definitely.
So as you all kind of fly down, and Vale is leaving this this gruesome spray of blood through the air as it's kind of, flashing off of him as he dives downward. You all eventually strike down right near that area of the kind of by that walled city area in the little alleyway. There's a raised boulevard, and then there's the wall of this city. And you drops down into some bushes and some shrubbery. As you land, what do you guys do?
Dunala beats his wings once before folding them behind his back, and then he puts his hands together in a clasp, turns towards where the rock fell, and raises his hands, lowering his head, and begins to pray to the rock and to Ubtao, and to the act of predation that Vale just demonstrated on it.
Brilinya, what do you do?
Brilinya takes a moment just to kind of brush herself off. She's actually going to take a look at where they are and their surroundings. In what state are these buildings in?
So this area that you've landed in is, you're in this alley just outside of this little walled compound. You can see that smoke is kind of drifting lazily from within this area. Just ahead of you is a gate, or there rather was a gate to this compound. It lies in shattered remains, the wooden gate on the ground. As you peer around the edge and look at some of these buildings, they are ancient and they are stone. They are covered in creeping vines and moss. What would probably normally have been sort of once upon a time clear plazas and walk spaces, there's sort of thick grasses have grown up, vines and trees growing everywhere. And as you glance towards the center of this compound, and we're talking this entire compound from where you're looking through the gate is only about maybe 250 feet across. So that means about 100 or so feet away from you, in the center of this compound, you see that it is littered with charred human corpses. One of the corpses is being torn apart by a pack of wild dogs. You see nearby a glaive has been thrust into the remains of a burned out pyre. Charred snake skulls and blackened inhuman vertebrae are lashed to this spear. On a wall on a nearby building, a symbol has been daubed in ash. A snake curled in a spiral, gripping a circle in its jaws. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session. I know it's a little bit of a shortened session, but you have
Exciting as hell.
I really enjoyed it. The only other time I ran like aerial combat was in a Harbinger game, and I found it hard to keep track of the ships. But they were also doing like laser, plasma weapons and all this other stuff. But I had no trouble visualizing this fight. You guys gave such spectacular descriptions, and it was exciting with Vale getting knocked out in the air hundreds of feet above. A brilliant use of polymorph by Dunala. I fear that one or more of you may have died if that rock had survived. Beyond that, with those, it was really the crit that did you in. I mean, yes, it does some massive damage. It was doing 4d8 and 4d6, so a total of upwards of what, like 50 or 60 per turn.
And here's the thing though, is that even though yes, I did drop, Marquise was 100% right. That I could easily have taken it. Now I kind of got lucky.
And hyper haste on you, Vale? Oh my god.
Well, yeah. Well, but but again, the good thing is though is that you were right. You were definitely right. I could definitely have taken the hit. Yeah, I dropped, but I didn't drop enough to like completely kill the character. Because I think you have to drop. What was it? You have to drop all of your hit points plus the total of your con, I believe, to actually die.
It's the inverse of what your hit point max is. So if you have 50 hit points and you take enough to drop you to negative 51, then you're dead.
Oh, okay.
I like that con idea though. I think we should
the con idea is actually more. It's actually more threatening. I've never heard that before.
Yes, let's put that into effect. I
always thought it was like let's say I've got 72, right? And I've got a 18 con. So if I drop 72 hit points and then I get hit again for negative 18, then that's it. Because that's your whole con. That's
like it.
That's interesting. I've also heard that. I've heard of people doing something similar for death saving throws, that death saves are cumulative, and you only ever get a number of death saves equal to.
I've talked about that one before.
Yeah, I think it was you, Marquise, that talked about it, and I really am intrigued by that. The idea that if you get dropped and you make 2 death saves and then you survive, you've still made 2 death saves against a pool of, I think it was your con modifier.
Yeah, I was doing con mod.
So
one that I ran into was you have enough times that you can go down then back up again, equal to your Constitution modifier. So actually, it was a nice little like timer on our campaign. Is like, well, I've been down 2 times. This other guy's been down twice already. We only have a +2 con, which means that the next time we're down, we're actually out for the count forever.
Well,
right.
I will say what I will say what I did do, and I realized it was already kind of moot, and that's why I had that reaction, was I had you roll for critical injury or lingering injury. But lingering injury, the effect goes away if you receive magical healing, which you did. Yeah. So it was kind of nullified. You rolled for internal injuries, which would have made it so that anytime you took an action in combat, you would have had to make a con save first.
That one's dastardly.
Yeah, I've actually suffered that in a Lloyd game. I had internal injuries, and it takes
I remember that.
Yeah, we were in that together.
Yes, we had to boil a ton of wine.
Yeah. Nico Dawson, man, that dude, he took on the role of trying to help me and wound up hurting me more every time.
There it goes.
So anyway.
Well, I saved your life. I remember that because I rolled with this was insane. I rolled with disadvantage, and I'm not kidding you. I rolled 2 20s.
Yep, I remember that.
I rolled 2 nat 20s, and we all just sat there and like, wait, and I had to grab the camera and I pointed like,
yep, I remember that.
Rolled. I don't believe this.
Yeah. I had forgotten it was in that game, but I remembered you rolling those 2 20s.
That was
So here's where we're at, and the reason I decided to cut it short. You guys have reached the lost city of Omu. You are in the Forbidden City, and you've pretty much we're now past that whole stage of trying to figure out where to go and randomly moving through the jungles and getting lost and dealing with corrupt guides. You are now essentially in the zone, the region of where you need to be. You've been hearing this, and I'm telling you this as in character too, because you kind of have heard that this is where you need to go. And with this revelation, I didn't know where you guys were going to land. You kind of had a large section of that southern part of the city available to you. So when Dunala decided to go there, the revelation was a good stopping point to say, you see this bizarre scene, because it's really going to open up some really cool stuff. You actually landed where I hoped you would land. So next week, we'll pick up with that, and I think it's going to be really exciting, particularly for one person. Dun dun dun. So with that, we're going to go ahead and call it a night on episode 36, The Lost City of Omu, on Chult of Personality, our Tomb of Annihilation campaign. Real quick, I want to go around and give each of you a chance to tell us where we can find you and what you got going on, and then we're going to get out of here until next week. So we'll go up and we'll start with Mike.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. 36 episodes. Wow. I mean, it's like 36. That's just crazy. And it's a really cool experience. I've been having so much fun. I really thought I was going to die in this episode. I'm not going to lie to you, but I figured it would have been totally worth it. But it was great. I had a lot of fun. Check me out right here. Stupid mirror thing. On Twitter, I have a YouTube channel, and come by tomorrow because it is session number 12 of All That Glitters, a Waterdeep Dragon Heist campaign. And this weekend, I picked up a little something, little Dungeon of the Mad Maid. Can't wait to crack this open and take all of the characters that all the players have been like building up on and enjoying and loving, and just decimating them, like just taking that love and care and just crushing it. But anyway, that's me. So hope you guys enjoy, and we'll see you next time.
Mike is so eagerly describing that because Megan and I are players in that campaign. Tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m., Monday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on Mini Terrain Domain. Next up is Megan.
Hi everyone, I am Megan. I am one half of the YouTube channel Dice on Ice, where we do live plays, and now every Sunday we are doing a video. Last week it was how to make your characters more interesting, and this week it is going through and making Genesis characters. So hope you go in for that. Also, there is a little book that Jake is slowly doing the slow reveal on that we have written. Cryfod is available on Drive-Thru RPG. So go check that out. And yeah, excitement.
And if you want to know more about Cryfoth, you can, of course, head to the Dice on Ice YouTube channel for games they've run, or you can head to Marquise can tell you which channel it's on. But Marquise ran some over on this channel earlier last year, ran a series that I produced. Also, before we go over to Connor, real quick, Castle Mac has raided the channel with 20 people right here at the tail end. Thank you, Castle Mac, and all of your raiders for... Oh, no, wait. Yeah, that's a raid and a subscription. I don't know what's happening. We're getting raided and resubscribed 6 months in a row from Castle Mac. So, even though we are at the end, it didn't quite happen where we double rated. But that means you guys earn 2 more domain dice. You now have just enough to turn a death saving throw critical failure into a success. If it should come to that, which it didn't. So thank you, Castle Mac, and all of your Wandering Disciple just subscribed. You guys get another domain die. They're definitely going to need them. So thank you, Wandering Disciple, for the subscription. All this excitement right at the tail end. Lots of love from, I like to refer to Castle Mac as our sister channel. We both have castles in our logo. And they're good people over there. They run great games, and they're a part of this wonderful community. So if you aren't already, check out the Castle Mac crew, and check out their streams. They run a lot of the same. One of the reasons we get rated or raid them is because we're always streaming sometimes the same content on our different channels, running the same adventure series. But they got a lot of really great stuff going on over there too. So with that, we'll continue with Connor.
Hi, I'm Connor. As Megan said, well, I'm the other half of Dice on Ice. We are a publishing group and YouTube people. Buy our book if you like D&D settings that are a little bit fresh. You can get on Drive-Thru RPG. With that being said, thank you, Jake, for running this game and for not killing me personally.
All right, and then Marquise.
Hey guys, I'm Marquise. Check me out at marquise.blogspot.com because I got a blog and it's a dope blog. You should go look at it. Or go look at scavengerworld.net, which is a new 5e setting that should hopefully maybe be coming out this year, or at least being kickstarted this year. That will be straight fire all around, change your life, make you glow, give you wings, Red Bull, all that good stuff. Other than that, thank you, Jake. I can't believe it's been 36 sessions. This is the longest I've ever been in a campaign before. I don't know about Mike, but I think Mike's been in longer ones. But for me, this is super long. And I've been through 2 characters, but it's been super dope. I've been loving it. I can't wait to eventually kill Connor's character, as is tradition. So it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, it's definitely the longest campaign I've been a part of, let alone run. It's just very exciting. This was actually the campaign that started me streaming on Twitch. And it was started in November of 2017. That's how long ago we started this. We had a couple short hiatuses here and there, but it's been just over a year. And Wandering Disciple is specifically requesting that we use the domain die earned from their subscription to kill Eric.
I can do that. I have stuff lined up for this. So man, you're
fair. Well. Yeah. I mean, we'll team up and just kill Eric.
We'll take turns
while he's sleeping.
Turns passing the die between us. Like everyone.
Big time. Like I'll do a divine thunderous smite at level 2, and then you can follow it up with a fireball.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And then Bro can I don't know, Eldritch Blast.
No, she has to heal him because it's kind of awkward.
Oh yeah.
All right,
it'd be awkward.
So everybody else has done their introductions. I am Jake, MTD_Jake on Twitter. Please consider, like our other fellows have, and several others have, consider at least following the channel. We are nearing 300 followers. That will allow you to stay notified whenever we go live on Twitch, which we live broadcast all of our actual play D&D games, one-shots. Also, if you have Amazon Prime and you link your account, you get a free subscription that you could use for Mini Terrain Domain. You can also find me and these videos, the VODs, available on youtube.com/Mini Terrain Domain, where I also do terrain crafting tutorials, as well as have a vast library of one-shots and campaign games available there for watching. Real quick, you've got Sunday nights at 8:30. You've got this game right here, Chult Personality from Tomb of Annihilation. Mike already mentioned on Monday nights, we have our All That Glitters Waterdeep Dragon Heist campaign happening at 8:30 Eastern. Every other Tuesday, so not this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday, you can find me over on Dice on Ice, along with Marquise and Connor, in the Curse of Strahd campaign that we just started, and you can catch up on episode 1 on Dice on Ice. This Wednesday, I will be over on Erasmus Expeditions with Jeremy Lilly for his help action, where we're going to be discussing showmanship. On Thursday will be episode 2 of the Forge of Fury, our Dawnbringers campaign. The Forge of Fury is season 2, episode 2 on Thursday, featuring Megan, along with DM Scotty, V, who is also in our All That Glitters game, Jeremy, Nerdarchus Ted, Megan. Did I forget somebody? I think I got everybody there.
Jeremy?
No, I mentioned Jeremy. So that's
Okay, yeah.
Also, last thing to announce, 1 week from Wednesday, this is the first time I'm officially announcing it. If you're not already on the Absolute Tabletop official group on Facebook, you really should, because all of us pretty much met through that group, and a lot of games are organized through there. I will be running, starting 1 week from Wednesday, a 3-part trilogy set in the playtest of Sphere, using the playtest materials from the Dead Man's Guide to Dragongrin. I have some players selected, as well as some players rotating in. Tim Carney, one of the writers and creators of the Dead Man's Guide to Dragongrin, will be playing in that trilogy for the entirety of it. Matt Click, Michael Barker, and James Carney will all be appearing in at least one additional episode of that trilogy. And then for regular players, along with Tim, right now, I have Baron Cantrell, who has appeared in a couple games on the channel here, and Drake will also be playing in that game. Drake ran a long-running Dragongrin campaign, so I think it's fitting that he gets a chance to play in that setting as well. So you can watch that right here, 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays, 3 Wednesdays in a row, starting on the 23rd. With that said, we are going to get out of here. We're going to end this stream the same way we end every stream, and you can say it with me if you want. Omitted. None of you bastards said it with me.
Yeah, I was thinking that.